here's where I'm at in terms of this situation with the anti-ICE protests. There was some happening here in Vista, believe it or not. I think this entire situation in terms of the ICE response is unfortunately a bit of an overcorrection with the precedent set by the previous administration for bad border policies. Outside of how you feel about Biden or Trump, the catch and release policy, which was I want to say an executive order on Biden's part to catch people in the United States that crossed over illegally and then drop them off in the United States and just give them a ticket and they can come back in 6 months to a year. That was a bad policy because what it did is it incentivized migrants from all over Latin America, South America to come on over. This bad policy then caused an influx of 10 to 20 million people to come and flood our border. 10 to 20 million people that have came over in the last 4 years. Now, here's the tension here. I have no problem with saying there is some good immigration that needs to happen. Obviously, as an immigrant, as a religious refugee, we as a country have always accepted refugees. However, there's been times where we've also stopped the influx of immigration from various parts of the world. So what we're experiencing, this is my opinion, is an overcorrection if they're now going after non-criminals. If you came over here illegally and you're a criminal, get him out. Get him out. If you've committed crimes, get him out. I think that's a reasonable take. I think everybody can get behind that, right? But if what's happening, and I don't know if this is what's happening, but if what's happening is now they got all the criminals off the street and they want to go in and get children who have been here and families who have been here, maybe for a year, maybe for a decade, I think that's kind of trash. I think that's an overcorrection. I think that we probably shouldn't be going after folks that like are recipients of DACA. Not that they are. I'm saying if that's what's happening, I don't think that's it. I don't think that's a good look. I think there's enough evidence to suggest that folks who come over and stay and, work, add a net positive. Now, are they also taking away jobs? I don't know. I'm not an expert on it, but I think there is an argument to be made that immigration is a good part, is a good thing. So, and especially if you look at all the Old Testament scriptures about welcoming in the alien. Now, we can't welcome in everybody. So there's a tension here that we have to wrestle through. The Bible presupposes borders, yet the Bible also talks about welcoming in people, and America's done well at welcoming in refugees and all that sort of stuff. Now, I think there is a legitimate concern to say, well, wait a minute. Look at what's happening in London. Look at what's happening with Muhammad being the number one name in London for babies. That's crazy. That's crazy. Perhaps we should be intentional about the type of people that come over who are willing to learn the language and assimilate, right? So we have to sparse this. So if what's happening is that ICE is now pulling up and taking out people who are families, I think that's an overcorrection to bad policies from the last 4 years. I think that's an overcorrection to those bad policies from the last 4 years, right? And I think we need to figure out how to get people that have been here for a while, now I don't know what a while is, to a legal status, green cards, resident cards, I don't know, right? And the people that have committed crimes, they need to go. I think that's fair. And the people who are seeking refugee status need a better process to go through that. Because there are Christian refugees that want to come over. And this is where I'm at, Trump cutting these nonprofits, in my opinion, gives us as Christians who value refugees, Christian refugees coming over, this gives us an opportunity to say, okay, let's put our money where our mouth is. Let's step up and not let the government fund this. So what have I done? I've increased my giving to organizations that work with refugees. The organization that brought me over, the San Diego IRC, that's who brought me over as a kid. I signed up as a monthly giver to them to help them do the work, the same work that brought me over, so that they don't have to be dependent on the federal government. I've also given to the World Relief Organization. I'm going to continue giving to the World Relief Organization. What if Christians who valued Christian refugees came over were the ones to fund that work and the federal government didn't have to rely on it? What if we put our money where our mouth is? Right? So I think we've gone to an extreme in the last 4 years that's bad. And I think everyone should be able to say open borders, bad. But I have a massive update for you. I'm sure by this point, you've heard about the Blessed God Summit happening March 27th, 28th, 29th here in beautiful Carlsbad, California. But we've heard your requests. We've conceded to your demand. There are virtual tickets that are now available for the Blessed God Summit, so you can access it from anywhere in the world, as well as access to the replays. And for those of you guys that are looking for something extra, we're also offering a virtual ticket and an exclusive Bless God Summit merch bundle. There's some amazing art and some exclusive pieces done by our friend Josh Nadeau from Sword and Pencil that you have to check out. So join us online for the virtual event and experience some sessions from my favorite podcasters, pastors, and performers. We have a stacked lineup. I'm talking about Preston Perry, Dr. Sean McDowell, Inspiring Philosophy. What do you mean? Lila Rose, Alan Parr, and his wife Jen Parr. We even have Nate Sala from Wise Disciple, Gavin Ortland, David Wood, Avery from God Logic Apologetics. And on the pastoral side, we have my friend Daniel Golding, Pastor Ed Newton from CBC in San Antonio, and my personal pastor from Rhythm Church, Pastor Jeff Moores and his wife Erin Moores. You won't want to miss out from amazing performances from America's Got Talent winner Dustin Savella, Billboard charting hip-hop artist John Keith, and Miles Minnick. And we're still finalizing a few more speakers. So head over to blessgod.shop, get your virtual ticket now, and you can get yourself a bundle with some of the exclusive merch as well. I'll see you over there, all right? Peace. I do think there's a time and a place to accept refugees who are seeking legitimate asylum claims and can provide evidence of that. Where that line is, how we navigate that is tricky, right? ICE did find 70 to 80,000 of the 300,000 missing children. A lot more work to be done, yes. And I know ICE is doing good work. I'm not going to sit here and throw ICE under the bus. I think some of the anti-ICE protesters are detached from reality. You can't expect America to just take in everybody. But is it really pragmatic to expect ICE to kick everybody out? Do we really think that that's the way to go? So that's what I'm saying. It's a complicated issue. But have no gripes that if you're mad right now, be mad at the 4 years that got us here, before we got here. Be mad at that. Someone saying, I want to clean up the border situation and I want to get the criminals out. I think we should all say yes and amen to that. And Now we got to wrestle with what about the people who've been here? How long have they been here? Have they been here a year? Have they been here 10 years? Have they been here 20 years? If you grew up here since you were a baby and you maybe you're not a DACA recipient, I think it's kind of janky to be like, throw those people out. Someone said if you've been here for 10 years and have 10,000 and 15,000 hours of documented work, you earn citizenship. That's like the official threshold? Anyone concerned with the world starting to equate biblical Christianity with republicanism? Yeah, I think that's a fair concern. We don't want that, right? But we also can't assume that the government is supposed to do all this. I think the church is supposed to do a lot of this. And me as a private citizen, I think it's fair for people to partner with these organizations that are being defunded. It's unfair for people who came in legally. If you just hand out citizenship to all illegals just because they behave okay and work, lots of legal people. Well, there is a third option, which is like kind of just leave it alone, right? That's in the Between Borders movie suggested as a settlement to the family before they can be granted asylum. The other option was like, we're just going to leave you alone and you don't have a pathway to citizenship, but we're just going to let you be. That is another option. For sure, that is another option. So I hear you on that. As someone that did come here legally, I'm not advocating for coming here illegally. I'm saying now that we're here, what do we do with that? And so these protests, to me, I understand where they're coming from, and I can't imagine being in a position where I potentially have to go back. My family could be split up. Like, that's scary stuff. I get it. I think the presupposition of these protests seems to be America kind of has to accept everybody. And that sounds kind of wild. That doesn't sound realistic or sober. That kind of, be a little harsh, sounds like a bit of entitlement. You know what I mean? That has an undergirdings of a bit of entitlement there. And I think that's not good, to say the least, right? I say to start a massive program for refugees, even those who have committed crimes, have their place somewhere and can be saved. Biblically speaking, we should help them, forgive them, find ways. Yeah, there are programs that work with refugees. Again, I named them earlier. World Relief, San Diego IRC, which is who brought me over, and those can be funded privately. You know, upwards of 80 billion gets stifled out of the economy and sent via Western Union back to Mexico alone. That's nearly 100 billion that would be in our economy. Yeah, the question is, would those jobs be done by non-migrants? And I don't know. That's above my head. You know what I mean? That's above my head to be able to give you all the ins and outs of that. I think the extremes of these situations is what concerns me, is anyone that goes to the extreme. Because if you're a Christian, you go into the extreme of like, get them all out of here. Man, I don't know how you wrestle through all of the verses around caring for the alien and the outsider. If you are a Christian and you're like, yeah, welcome everybody in and take care of everybody, I don't know how you presuppose borders in the order of priorities we see in Scripture. That's what I'm getting at. I think the extremes and the politicizing of the extremes is not good. But the system as it is now, in my opinion, is broken and needs to get fixed. I think in that happening, there's going to be, what is it? You got to crack some eggs to scramble them, or whatever that phrase is. I think that's what we're going to be dealing with. So it's unfortunate. It sucks. People are going to get hurt. I'm not fond of that. And I think it's just layered, unfortunately, and it sucks. And I know that's not the hot take people want. You want a all or nothing, black or white answer to that, you know? Hey, thank you so much for checking out the video. Please be sure to comment below and subscribe and all that good stuff. And check out this other video that YouTube seems to be recommending just for you. Let me know if they nailed it. All right? I'll see you over there. Peace.